Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening. It's Monday, November 15th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. A new week brings a new round in the battle over COVID-19 vaccinations. Some parents kept their children out of school again today in protest of vaccination mandates. At the same time, more children are being protected with shots in arms across San Diego County. KPBS education reporter MG Perez has the latest.
8-year-old Kainoa Ranjo is about to get vaccinated against COVID-19. He's getting his first dose of the Pfizer vaccine aboard the UC San Diego Health vaccination van. It's parked on the campus of Morse High School.
Okay, so it's really important you move your arm around today, okay? Okay.
Kainoa's vaccinated grandparents brought him here after a minimum day of school. He is one of more than 7,300 5 to 11-year-olds the county health department has now counted as vaccinated with at least one dose.
It's better that kids are protected because, that's how we show how we love them.
The vaccine van is on the road through December. It will be back here at Morse and other schools on the COVID tour to administer second doses. Meanwhile, all those people against vaccinations and mandates are on the move too. Parents and their supporters gathered again at the Balboa Park Organ Pavilion this morning, protesting mandated vaccinations in schools. It's a mix of the grassroots organizations called Let Them Breathe and Let Them Choose. Late Friday, a judge dismissed the Let Them Breathe lawsuit seeking to stop the state's mandates on masks. The group's founder, Sharon McKeeman, refused to talk to KPBS News today because of our prior reporting on the movement. Parents who did talk maintain the same message they've had.
I am not vaccinated, and I feel very strongly about it, but I also support somebody that wants to get vaccinated. I think it's a choice.
What about your children?
My children will not get vaccinated, no.
Tonight, San Diego Unified School District officials report more than 600 children and adults have been vaccinated on the vaccination van as of Friday. This young man is happy to be one of them. MG Perez, KPBS News.
And with younger children now eligible for a COVID vaccine, can schools drop mask mandates? What federal health officials and doctors are recommending, that's coming up on Evening Edition. COVID-19 cases in the U.S. are once again ticking up. According to Johns Hopkins University, about 82,000 cases are being reported each day. That's up 11% over the daily average from 2 weeks ago. 20 states are seeing a rise in cases, although California is not among them. Meanwhile, COVID-19 deaths are down about 9% from 2 weeks ago. Hospitalization rates also fell about 3%. It's unclear just yet how the latest rise in cases will affect those numbers. Just over 2.3 million San Diegans are fully vaccinated against COVID-19, but the rollout for boosters has been slower. That could soon be changing now that state officials say anyone over 18 can get the immunity booster. KPBS health reporter Matt Hoffman explains.
I came for my Moderna booster.
Stephen Bridge says he came to get his COVID booster shot at the Chula Vista LiveWell Center because he wants to be as protected as possible.
I'm a retired doctor and a real firm believer in vaccinations, and so I made my own decision.
If you're going to get a booster shot, whether it be at a county site, a pharmacy, or even a healthcare provider, make sure to check to see if you need an appointment ahead of time. And also, officials tell us that they will be checking to make sure it's been at least 6 months since your original doses. Booster shots are now available for anyone in California over the age of 18 with no requirement to have underlying medical conditions or work in a high-risk setting. We talked to a number of people who said they were waiting in this line for their booster shots, but following recent vaccine approval for those ages 5 to 11, there were a lot of kids getting their vaccinations.
I heard they were applying vaccines here, so I gave it a shot to the shot.
And are your kids excited for that, or are they?
No, not at all.
Adrian Delgado lives in Tijuana and brought his 5 and 11-year-old kids here for their first series of vaccinations.
In Mexico, they're still not vaccinating children, only people from 18 or older.
People say getting their booster shot was a fairly painless process.
Very straightforward. Booked the appointment online and then came here. They have a separate line for people with appointments.
The CDC recommends boosters for anyone over 65, those with underlying medical conditions, and those working in high-risk exposure settings. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
A major legislative victory today for President Biden as he signed into law his infrastructure bill. KPBS reporter Alexander Rangel has a look at what's in it for us in San Diego County.
It will lead the world into the 21st century with modern cars and trucks and transit systems. We're going to do this by building again and moving again.
A $1.2 trillion infrastructure package was signed by President Biden Monday. The bipartisan bill includes money for roads, bridges, transportation, clean drinking water, access to high-speed internet, and more.
We haven't seen this level of investment at the national level into infrastructure in a very, very long time.
Mayor Todd Gloria says the signing is a monumental day for the country and the county. He says the money will help address some of San Diego's urgent needs.
Invest in our existing infrastructure, repair potholes, bridges, other things that need tending to. But we can also make smart investments that will actually address underlying issues around sustainability and equity that we couldn't do before.
The bill also includes billions to improve the electrical grid, fight climate change, and build a network of electric vehicle charging stations. It's a trajectory in line with San Diego's Climate Action Plan.
But we have a lot of projects that are ready to go here in San Diego, and we will have more when we pass our new regional transportation plan that similarly considers sustainability and equity in December. Things like that will make sure that we get our fair share of dollars here in San Diego.
County Supervisor Chair Nathan Fletcher says he's ready to see major projects that will create jobs.
This is good jobs, and we are building the foundation upon which we live. I think this is the right thing to invest in. We just want to get the funds here. We want to get them on the ground. We want to get people working, and we want to start working to improve their lives.
Alexandra Rangel, KPBS News.
The family of Rebecca Zahau will have to wait even longer for the information they've been seeking about her death. Today, a judge has delayed his decision on allowing them to see San Diego Sheriff's Department files to January. In 2011, her death at Spreckles Mansion in Coronado was ruled a suicide. Her family believes her death was caused by foul play. Her family has said they believe the sheriff's office withheld information in violation of the California Public Records Act. Lawyers for the county believe the information the family is asking for is exempt from being disclosed. Kaiser Permanente has reached a tentative agreement, bringing an end to a strike that was planned for today. It calls for a new 3-year deal with the pharmacists union. It includes wage increases each year and no reductions to family, medical, and dental coverage, along with incentive bonus opportunities. On Saturday, another tentative agreement was reached involving some 50,000 Kaiser health care workers. A new homeless outreach team is now working in the North County, part of San Diego County's framework for ending homelessness. As KPBS reporter Kitty Alvarado explains, the team's goal is to get the homeless connected with the resources that they need.
It's estimated that over 1,500 people live on North County streets. The newly formed outreach team will try to change those numbers. Barbara Jimenez with the county's community operations explains how.
They will provide outreach, engagement, street case management assessment, and connection to services and housing opportunities.
County Supervisor Tara Lawson-Reamer says one of the reasons homelessness has been a challenge in the region is because the 8 cities in North County all have different plans, and those plans are also different from the counties.
But starting today, for the first time, we are coordinating outreach across city and county lines so we can get people help and housing faster than ever before.
The team is made up of social workers, case managers, and human service specialists. Greg Angel with Interfaith Community Services says building relationships with people who need the help is vital to getting people off the streets permanently.
That's why we need outreach workers who are mental health specialists who can build trusting relationships with those individuals to help them navigate to the resource that they need.
Lawson Reamer says the cost of this team is not yet known because it's a pilot program, but what she does know is that right now, law enforcement is being used to deal with the issue. And it costs $83,000 a year to put someone in jail versus $33,000 to get someone into housing and treatment.
From a fiscal point of view, frankly, completely insane that we've been sending trained law enforcement out and putting folks in jail instead of actually getting people the services that they need, which is both more effective and significantly less expensive.
The next outreach team will be deployed in January. Kitty Alvarado, KPBS News.
Today kicks off Hunger and Homeless Awareness Week nationwide. KPBS reporter Melissa May shows us how 2 local organizations are partnering to address this increasing issue.
Father Joe's Villages and Mission Fed Credit Union are partnering for Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week.
In this particular week, it's an opportunity for us to be able to bring the community and raise the awareness and suggest how they can get involved in this very critical issue, because food insecurity in our community here and across the nation is very, very severe.
Deacon Jim Vargas is the president and CEO of Father Joe's Villages and describes how much food insecurity affects the San Diego community.
1 out of 3 here in San Diego, 1 out of 3 has some level of nutrition insecurity and across the board. And then 2 children out of 5 have a level of nutrition insecurity.
To kick off the week, the organizations wanted to educate the public about how hunger and homelessness impacts San Diegans. Mission Fed also donated $25,000 as a match challenge to the community to donate to Father Joe's Villages.
There's something happening every single day, from advocacy to activation to donation to education. It's like a lot of alliteration, but all in service and participation of a really important cause.
Neville Villamoria is the Senior VP of Membership, Marketing, and Community Relations at Mission Fed Credit Union. Today, Mission Fed employees donated their time to help assemble about 200 meal boxes for those in need.
They start with all the fresh food that could be perishable, and then they backfill that with everything else that they think would make a well-rounded meal that could drop off for folks.
Along with food insecurity, about 7,600 people experience homelessness every night in San Diego.
The Mahatma Gandhi quote, "Be the change you want to see in the world." Before you can be the change you want to see in the world, you've got to see the change you want to be in the world. And here's our chance to give people a chance to see themselves as supporters of this cause.
To learn more about how you can help during Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week, go to my.neighbor.org. Melissa May, KPBS News.
Millions of U.S. families are about to receive their latest monthly child tax credit payment. Eligible families can receive up to $3,600 for each child under the age of 6 and up to $3,000 for each child ages 6 through 17. This could be the last payment if Congress doesn't act. The tax credit was created as part of the coronavirus relief package. The budget reconciliation package that Democrats are currently negotiating would extend the credit through next year. The White House estimates that nearly 1 million kids ages 5 to 11 have received their first COVID-19 vaccine so far. This comes as school mask mandates are starting to disappear in some school districts, leading experts to encourage more parents to get their children vaccinated. Mandy Gaither has a closer look.
Some schools are rolling back mask mandates, but is it too soon?
I mean, the masks are like uncomfortable, but it's for safety. If I wear my mask, that means I get to see my friends. I'll just wear a mask.
The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention guidelines have not changed. Students, staff, teachers, and visitors to K-12 schools are recommended to wear masks indoors regardless of vaccination status, just as kids 5 to 11 years old are now eligible to get their first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine.
Getting vaccinated also helps keep our schools open, children's sports going, and helps our children maintain a more normal lifestyle.
A review of school records finds hundreds of districts around the country have made masks optional, including some schools in Georgia, Louisiana, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Kentucky, often citing declines in COVID-19 cases. But experts say the virus is still a threat to young children.
Larger numbers of children and adolescents have been getting infected, and too many of those children have been getting seriously ill and sadly even dying.
The Ohio Department of Education says about 68% of school districts there have dropped mask mandates, and in Texas, schools aren't even allowed to require masks, although some districts like Dallas have ignored the state and kept the mandates. For today's Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
CDC studies from September found that outbreaks are far more likely in schools that don't require students and staff to wear masks. Amazon has reached a settlement with California over its COVID-19 protocols. The complaint says Amazon failed to adequately notify its warehouse workers and local health agencies of COVID cases within the company. It will pay $500,000 and is required to modify its protocols. The state attorney general's office says that payout will go toward enforcing the state's consumer protection laws. California's right to know law requires employers to notify all employees at a worksite of a COVID-19 exposure. Long overdue. That is how President Joe Biden described a new executive order he signed today to support Native American communities. Today, the White House virtually held the first Tribal Nations Summit since 2016 with leaders from more than 570 tribes. The 5 new initiatives involve 17 federal departments and agencies protecting tribal treaty rights. They also include increasing tribal participation in the management of federal lands and highlight the need to address violence against Native Americans.
This builds on the work we did together in reauthorizing the Violence Against Women Act in 2013, when we granted authority to tribes to exercise jurisdiction over non-Indian offenders who commit violence on tribal lands. We're going to reauthorize that again. We're going to expand the jurisdiction to include other offenses like sex trafficking, sexual assault, and child abuse.
Other initiatives include seeking a 20-year ban on oil and gas drilling at an ancient heritage site in northwestern New Mexico and incorporating tribal ecological knowledge in the fight against climate change.
We're going to see temperatures cool off over the next couple of days from coastal areas to the deserts. Onshore flow returns, and that's likely going to bring a good amount of cloud cover for our coastal regions here over the next couple of days. But it does look like we're going to remain dry. No rain is in the forecast. As we head into tonight, temperatures fall off into the low 50s in Oceanside and Escondido, getting down to 44 for you in Vermona. El Cajon 54 for that overnight low. Tuesday, that colder air is trying to push further and further south, but it's not going to quite get there. The warmth is going to linger here for most across the southwest. Temperatures on your Tuesday afternoon getting up into the mid-70s in Ramona, El Cajon getting up to 75. But again, you'll notice that cloud cover near the coast as the onshore flow is going to build back in. We may see those clouds break in the afternoon, but definitely going to see a good amount of cloud cover throughout the day. Wednesday, again, more in the way of coastal cloud cover, and that warm and dry air kind of shifts off to the east. Still likely going to be pretty warm in the deserts, but we're going to see a cooling trend likely over the next 3 to 5 days. Near the coast, temperatures generally sitting in the mid to upper 60s. Not much of a cooling trend here, perhaps by a couple of degrees over the next couple of days, but the big changes were again from this past weekend into the next couple of days, where we were well up into the upper 70s and even some low 80s. Further inland, temps go from the mid-70s into the low 70s and then down into the upper 60s by the time we get to Friday. Also a good amount of cloud cover possible here all the way through Thursday, and then we should see some improvement by Friday and next weekend. In the mountains, temperatures dropping from about 60 degrees on Tuesday down into the low to mid-50s for you Thursday and Friday. Seeing good amount of sunshine here in the mountains, and in the deserts too, a cooling trend from the mid-80s down into the low 80s as we head towards Thursday and Friday of this week. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Jessica Pash.
It looks like Santa Claus might not be coming to every small town and city this year. The head of a professional Santa Claus school in Denver says recruits are down 10 to 15% 12% this year. Other staffing agencies say the demand is up over 120%. One issue, many older and heavier set men are opting out of the job over concerns about their risk of exposure to COVID. Virtual or video visits could help address the Santa shortage. Besides family fun, theme parks provide jobs and a boost to the economy. And now with an increase in vaccinations, especially for kids 5 to 11, that's good news for area fun parks. At Disneyland resorts, they are still recommending masks and vaccinations, and reservations are still required, especially now that they are celebrating the magic of the holidays with the annual parades and fireworks traditions, as well as new diverse cultural festivities.
We are taking a thoughtful approach to visitation here at the Disneyland Resort and utilizing a reservation system. Our guests can feel safe here when they have their face coverings on indoors, and again, you can have those optional outdoors regardless of vaccination status.
Here's an insider tip for all of our guests. There's a really great spot if you'd like a little bit more elbow room. It's in the shadow of the Matterhorn Mountain. You'll see right in the middle of the parade route. It's a great spot to watch the parade.
Other cultural events include Disney Viva Navidad and food and fun with performances based on the upcoming movie Encanto. Holiday events run through January 9th, and for more information on health updates, you can visit the park's website. Some cats are not friendly enough to live in normal homes with families, but shelters also don't want to euthanize them. KPBS North County reporter Tanya Thorne tells us about a new program that offers a solution.
Most people go to animal shelters looking for a new cat or dog to pet and cuddle. But the San Diego County Department of Animal Services is launching a new program to help cats that are not so affectionate. It's called Working Cats, and the cats do just that, work.
These cats are shy. They're not as social as the cats in our traditional adoption program, but they are excellent mousers. They're more than willing to help patrol your property, your warehouse, your outbuilding, your barn, and make sure that it's pest-free.
Kelly Campbell is the department's director. She says working cats are a great organic pest control option, especially for people living in rural areas of San Diego County.
Where people might have ranches or larger properties or more buildings on their properties, and particularly if we're talking about folks who might have some agricultural or some ranch work that gets done, you've almost certainly got rodents. And so working cats can be a great alternative to things like pesticides or poisons or glue traps. These guys are all natural. They'll keep pollution away, and they keep the poisons out of the environment while controlling the pest problem.
Rainbow resident Douglas Castellum has 4 working cats on his 14-acre property.
Whatever it was that was decimating our garden, gophers, squirrels, whatever, they're done too. So the cats help control all of that stuff.
Castellum says his cats have taken care of rodents on his property, and one even killed a rattlesnake. There is concern that working cats are vulnerable to coyotes, but Castellum says the feral cats are survivors.
We've had our feral for 4 years next month, and he's out every night. And if I were a coyote, I wouldn't mess with them.
He says each cat has a unique personality, and some are friendlier while others keep their distance. But they all fit into the organic practices he wants on his ranch.
The rodents are problems. I mean, they're rodents and they have a right to live, okay. But live somewhere else. And a lot of people poison them. And then you can see we have an owl box right there. And so then if they're poisoned, then the owls eat them or the hawks eat them. And then the owls and the hawks and the other things get poisoned. The cats are a really good solution. That's how we try to do most things out here, is use natural biological solutions.
Campbell says all animal shelters are operating almost at full capacity, so they're waiving adoption fees for working cats. The cats are vaccinated, microchipped, and fully vetted.
Beyond that, they would only need the standard veterinary care or treatment for any injuries that might happen. But other than that, it's, they're pretty easy keepers.
Campbell adds that if taking a working cat home isn't an option, the shelter is always looking for foster families and volunteers. Tanya Thorne, KPBS News.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, the road ahead. President Biden signs his $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill into law. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
And here's another look at today's top stories. Some San Diego County parents kept their children out of school again today in protest of vaccination and mask mandates. It comes after a judge dismissed a lawsuit seeking to stop the state's mandates. Meanwhile, San Diego Unified School District continued its mobile vaccination van program. So far, they've vaccinated more than 600 children and adults. If you're fully vaccinated, you may now be able to get a COVID booster shot. They are now open to anyone in California over the age of 18, as long as it's been at least 6 months since your original doses. There is no longer a requirement of underlying medical conditions or working in a high-risk setting. Just over 2.3 million San Diegans are fully vaccinated. The Sesame Street family is growing with a new Muppet moving into the neighborhood. 7-year-old Ji Young is a Korean-American character, and she is going to make her debut appearance on a new special called See Us Coming Together. The special aims to celebrate diversity within the Asian and Pacific Islander communities. See Us Coming Together, a Sesame Street special, will air right here on KPBS on Thanksgiving and all other times you see on your screen. It is also free on the PBS Kids app for a month starting on Thanksgiving. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley. And by the following: and by viewers like you. Thank you.